Have you ever stopped to think how embarrassing it is being born? The first thing a human being does when it's birthed is cry, and crying is cringe. So we literally enter this world as a little cringe specimen, and it's up to us to spend the rest of our lives trying to transcend the first cringe and be something more. But what happens when you spend your entire lives as nothing but a clown? Someone who just embarrasses themselves at every step of their journey. Well, then you end up like Billy Mitchell. I'm just describing Billy Mitchell. Billy Mitchell is the self-proclaimed video game player of the century. He was the former world record holder for Donkey Kong, and he has spent the better part of the last 4 or 5 years just ruining his own reputation by frivolously suing everyone that even so much as makes fun of him or makes a light joke about him. And the reason for this lashing out is because it was revealed through tons and tons and tons of evidence that Billy Mitchell most likely cheated for his records, is most likely a fraud, allegedly. So since that doomsday, Billy's just been an insufferable asshole who sues everyone who makes a joke about it or talks about it, and he tries to scare people with massive lawsuits. It's just a big piece of shit. So he's already sued a YouTuber whom I'm a big fan of. His name's Carl. I'm sure a lot of you have watched his content before. He's suing Carl, and it's a very expensive lawsuit. So far, it's been like $180,000 according to Carl. But he wasn't done there. Just 2 weeks ago, Billy Mitchell came back out of the shadows to sue Carl again. Even though the previous lawsuit is still ongoing, he is suing Carl again, but this time for an even more outrageous reason that I'm not going to spoil right now. I'll let Carl go ahead and give you the surprise, because what a special treat it is. This is one of the most baffling reasons for a lawsuit I think I've probably ever heard in general. Now, as I understand it, the second lawsuit hasn't been fully filed yet. Right now, it is still in the letter of intent stage, where they are intending to sue Carl and have sent him the documents to indicate such, but it looks like it is going to be sent in the coming days. In response to this, Carl made another video going over just how silly it all is, but also how expensive everything is, and he set up a GoFundMe because he's right now getting dual hand jobs here from Billy Mitchell with the double lawsuit coming in. So he does have a GoFundMe, which I'm going to link below. Please feel free to support him if you'd like to help Carl against an absolutely ruthless villain here. I think Billy Mitchell is unhinged, and this kind of behavior is completely unacceptable and complete fucking bullshit. And hopefully it results in Billy Mitchell himself getting countersued. Good news is he currently is in another lawsuit with a company called Twin Galaxies, and it's looking like he will most likely lose that. So there's some good news there, and I have full confidence that Carl will also be able to beat Billy Mitchell, because Billy has a history of these awful fucking lawsuits that just don't work because they're so fucking dumb. Now, I'd like to share some of Carl's video with you and go into even more detail on Billy Mitchell. So I want to talk about this. I don't know how many of you saw this today. So Carl is again being sued by Billy Mitchell. Billy Mitchell, as I'll bring you up to speed on the lore, disgraced best gamer of all time. What did he call himself? The gamer of the century? Can't quite recall. Donkey Kong world record holder, outed as a fraud, in denial for the rest of his life, allegedly a fraud. Otherwise, I'm going to get sued for saying that. And he just goes on like a legal rampage to try and scare people into silence. So he throws his meat around to get people on edge so they don't talk about him or they remove anything that's, hypercritical of him. Carl has once again found himself in the crosshairs of old Billy Mitchell here. So he's now posted this video talking about it, and this one is a little scarier than the last one. Billy Mitchell's got the fangs out, so he's coming out locked and loaded, and it's just a really fucking sad situation that Billy Mitchell continues to do this. He's what they call a serial suer. He just files all kinds of these frivolous lawsuits knowing full well they won't make it to court, but is still expensive on the people he files them against most of the time. It's a fucking disgrace. And he's absolutely shit at games.
As many of you know, last year I was officially sued by Billy Mitchell. In September of 2021, Mitchell filed a $450,000 lawsuit against me over my video titled "The Biggest Conman in Video Game History."
Great video too.
In that video,
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with Billy Mitchell, but you've seen the regular show, Billy Mitchell was so upset that they used his image in... Here, I'll bring it up, actually. I don't even know why I'm going to try and paint it with words when I can just look it up. They used this as like an antagonist when it was about like a high score episode, Billy Mitchell got pissed. He got so fucking mad. And this is honestly the best Billy Mitchell's ever looked. I actually think regular show did him a great service. Usually he's dressed like he's running for student class president. But here, they made him look cool. I can't remember if he sued them, though. Oh, no, he did. He did and lost. Which sounds par for the course in the life of Billy Mitchell. Judge declares Mitchell is not a giant floating head. Cool ruling. Though I do understand why Billy might be a little upset because they portrayed him as like this ferociously unhinged maniac, which he is. So that's just a big old get fucked Billy. Unlucky. I actually haven't read the quotes from the ruling. The television character does not match the plaintiff in appearance. GBF, character in the show, appears as a non-human creature, a giant floating head with no body from outer space, while plaintiff is a human being. And when GBF loses his title, the character literally explodes, unlike plaintiff. One could argue Billy Mitchell also explodes, but it's far more embarrassing. His explosions just usually end up with shittily written lawsuits and as well as just verbal tantrums, insult.
Billy Mitchell's compulsive need to threaten and sue people that talk about him has reached all-time highs, and you will not believe what he has recently done to try to silence me.
Yeah.
But before that, my legal defense has cost $180,000.
Yep.
Yes, you heard correctly, $180,000.
That's why it's so disgraceful when someone takes this absolute garbage route. There's a lot of people that have done this online. You guys might remember BitBoy Crypto tried something similar against Atozy, where Atozy called him out on some of the shit he was talking about, and BitBoy Crypto threatened this big lawsuit, defamation, I can't sleep, I can't eat because he called me a dirtbag, that kind of shit. It is always such a financial burden to fight that shit, even though it doesn't win the case. The whole point is to bleed you of money. It's so fucked up. Does it not cost Billy Mitchell money to file these? I don't know. I'm not well versed enough to know for sure. A lot of times the frivolous lawsuits, in order to file them, it's not super expensive or anything. You can do it relatively cheap, at least compared to fighting it. Because once you file it, the onus is really on the person you're going after to defend themselves against you. So that's where a lot of the money comes from. So yes, it does cost something for them to do it, but it doesn't cost nearly as much for them to file it as it does to fight it.
Because you see, Billy Mitchell isn't satisfied just suing me once. Oh no, he's going to sue me
Double
again.
dipping.
In
The old
April of
double
this
fist.
year, I released a video called Disgraced Gamer Billy Mitchell Accused of Extortion, where I factually and objectively reported on accusations made against Mitchell by the current Donkey Kong World Record holder, Robbie Lakeman.
Then that's where you made a mistake, Carl. I gotta tell you, when it comes to Billy Mitchell, there's no such things as facts, only feelings. And you poke the sleeping bear. Billy was content with just one frivolous lawsuit, but now he's going in full throttle.
As in my humble opinion, he has absolutely no case, and this is just an attempt to scare me, but it still gets even worse.
Yeah, it's an expensive scare tactic, though. And I have to say, I love the nuts on Carl. So, usually in these things, they make a request, take down the video or else. A lot of times, because of how expensive this is and how scary the big numbers are, people fold, take it down. Hope that's the end of it. Carl sticks to his guns, and I always appreciate that. I always think that's great. Just say, okay, you want to dance? Mama's putting on the dancing shoes then. Let's hit the tango. And then duke it out from there. Because going forward, while it's cheaper to file it than it is to fight it, it is still going to cost Billy Mitchell money should this continue. He's going to lose money as well. And it's not like he's like super wealthy. He does have a decent chunk of change to his name from what I understand. But it's not like he's made out of money. He can't fight this thing forever.
In May of this year, I released a video called I Cheated in a Speedrun and I Need to Come Clean, which was a parody video where I jokingly made fun of myself for submitting a few cheated scores to a gaming magazine over 20 years ago when I was a kid. Anyone who's watched that video might be wondering what this has to do with Billy Mitchell.
It was
As
brought
the
up in the
video
lawsuit.
wasn't about him, nor did I even talk about him. While it is true that I didn't mention or talk about Billy Mitchell, I did show this clip.
You're familiar with Billy Mitchell, world video game champion? He could probably do it. So I gotta find a way to harness his power, and I think I found a way.
That's right, we're gonna cheat.
This is a meme that was made back in 2020, which has over 4 million views
Fire
on YouTube
meme.
and millions of views on Twitter. That's right, in the entire video, I literally did not mention Billy Mitchell
He
at
should
all
sue
or
Angry
talk about
Video
him.
Game
I
Nerd.
simply randomly threw in this meme of someone else talking as a joke, and Billy Mitchell wants to sue me for this.
I didn't remember this. Peter Dinklage plays a Billy Mitchell stand-in who has always bested Adam Sandler's character when they were kids. It's revealed the reason he was so good was because he cheated. Fucking hype. I'm assuming Billy Mitchell tried a lawsuit there. He must have consented to that then. Maybe that was too big of an opportunity for him to get upset about. They had the creator of Pac-Man get eaten by Pac-Man in the movie. That's a little different though. Billy Mitchell is always adamant that he's never cheated. It's all legit. He is... What does he call himself? Is it the Gamer of the Century? Like, he calls himself fucking Gamer of the Century or something. Oh, Video Game Player of the Century. Not even... Jesus, Gamer of the Century would have been better. Why Video Game Player? You just call yourself Gamer and you get one word for the price of 3.
Billy Mitchell is guilty of fraudulently hoodwinking so as to obtain unfair advantage when competing in video games.
Yeah. That is what the meme is saying. I don't know how you really sue for the meme, though. Especially when Carl didn't even make the meme. He should go after the meme maker. In fact, he should just go after anyone that says anything about him on Twitter or Reddit. Like, just really put your tentacles all the way out there.
Section 10A of the Defamation
Including
Act
you?
at the time of your
I'm actually shocked Billy Mitchell hasn't come after me yet. Not only have I made fun of this man extensively for years now, talked about him on the podcast quite a bit, I keep up with Billy Mitchell and the enjoyable tragedy that is his public reputation and how he just wipes his ass with it constantly. I'm super finger on the pulse when it comes to Billy Mitchell. I am shocked he hasn't tried. I suppose he's welcome to if he wants. I would absolutely fight that shit tooth and nail. I'd request that it be live streamed as well, so that way there's fucking content flowing from it. I think it'd be great. Billy Mitchell strikes me as the type of guy that would represent himself in court too. Even though none of his lawsuits have ever made it that far because they're such dog shit, I feel like if they did, he would represent himself. It would be just a content factory.
Oh my lord. Billy Mitchell is a joke. He has become a parody of himself.
True.
This letter is nothing short of hilarious.
Not defamatory.
And I would otherwise
Truth.
be laughing if not for the fact that this is a real letter written by a real lawyer that my lawyers really had to respond to. So not only does he want to sue me over a meme that someone else made, but he wants to sue me over a meme that someone else made that's true. And what's ironic is that there are
Huge.
hundreds of comments underneath the
Love that.
YouTube video of this clip of people making fun of Billy, joking, saying that he's going to sue them for posting it. And then he actually...
Yeah, how can you... As Billy Mitchell, they even quoted the YouTube comments in the lawsuit, so how can you as Billy Mitchell see these comments, them laughing at you knowing you're going to sue him, and then still do it? You make yourself an even bigger joke. It is actually just impressive. Billy Mitchell is like a human snowball, like just tumbling down a mountain, getting bigger and bigger and bigger as more and more failures compound, and then eventually just having this comedic explosion at the bottom that everyone points and laughs at. What a remarkable legacy.
So I have set up a GoFundMe
Probably.
to help with my fight against Billy Mitchell, and any help would be immensely appreciated.
Absolutely.
This GoFundMe is set to cover the rest of my existing lawsuit, plus the new lawsuit that Billy Mitchell says he will be filing, plus having to deal with all of the other bullshit threats that come my way. This is in Australian dollars, so it's not as large as it seems, but it's still a very significant amount of money that it's
I think
going
it's
to take to
150K
defeat
USD.
Mitchell. There is light at the end of the tunnel, though. In Australian court, generally the loser has to pay a lot of the legal fees of the winning party. So
How's the GoFundMe going? I hope it's going well. I haven't checked. Fuck yeah. Hey, that's a good day one right there. I'll be donating to it. I really think when Carl wins, I don't see a world where Billy somehow squeaks out a dub here. I think when Carl wins, Carl needs to countersue. And I will do whatever it takes to make that possible. I want to put Billy Mitchell against the ropes. I want Carl and Billy to duke it out in court. And I just want to be there with the popcorn to spectate. Because you can countersue for frivolous lawsuits. Knowingly filing bogus lawsuits isn't necessarily allowed. you can come back against that, for sure. So I really think once this is all settled, the dust settles, I think a countersuit is the right play.
The next 12 months will not be good for Billy Mitchell. He has his trial against Twin Galaxies coming up, and in my opinion,
Oh, yeah.
in the opinion of anyone who knows the details of Mitchell's cheating, he has absolutely no chance of winning.
I completely fucking forgot. Billy Mitchell is actually being sued right now. So in the middle of him getting sued, he is still sending out lawsuits. This man is unstoppable. I forgot Twin Galaxies is suing him.
But as soon as he loses one of these lawsuits, which is inevitable, he will be absolutely destroyed and everything will come crumbling down. So, this has been an update to what I've been dealing with.
So one thing Carl says that I think is a little wrong is everything crumbling down for Billy Mitchell. That makes it sound like Billy Mitchell has like a prospering career. He doesn't. Billy Mitchell is like the definition of washed up has-been. Everything will come crumbling down should all of these lawsuits not go in his favor, which I highly doubt they will. But it's not like he's in a good spot right now in general. People talk about him as the butt of jokes. He's not necessarily a celebrity. He's not looked at as a video game icon or champion or anything. He doesn't have like a big empire. He's just a big asshole who has ruined his own legacy and refuses to accept any level of responsibility. No one gives a fuck about Billy Mitchell aside from laughing at him for every frivolous lawsuit. You might get sued. I'm not saying anything defamatory. I'm just saying the truth of where he's at right now. He may or may not have cheated. There's a lot of evidence to suggest he did, but it's all alleged, of course. I'm just talking about him being a joke of a person. That's not defamatory. I find you sad. That's not defamatory. Watching you makes me laugh and feel sadness.
Again, if you have the means, I would appreciate any help, so please consider donating to my GoFundMe, or consider sharing this video. Thank you so much for watching, you legends. I hope you were having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video.
Love you, Carl. I have full faith Carl slam dunks this. Yeah, please support Carl. If anyone wants to see Billy Mitchell lose even more, help Carl win the case. I've never been a huge believer in fate or destiny, that people's lives follow a predetermined path that they're forced to go down. I've never really subscribed to that belief until recently. I think there are people out there that are just born to be losers. Just like a joke of a person that follows this trajectory of the most pathetic path possible. I'm talking specifically about one man that I've made multiple videos on now, named Billy Mitchell, the self-proclaimed video game player of the century, a lame-ass title that he pretty much gave himself because he had some high scores in some old video games, most notably his King of Kong score, the high score in Donkey Kong, which he cheated for. I know that's a dangerous word to be talking about in the same sentence as Billy because he is so litigious. He sues everyone who accuses him of cheating or even makes fun of him in relation to cheating. He even tried to sue Cartoon Network because his feelings got hurt when there was a villain in the regular show that bears a resemblance to him who blows up when he loses his high score in a video game. And he got so offended, this sensitive nematode got so fucking upset about it that he tried suing Cartoon Network and subsequently got laughed out of court for it. So not only is he so pitiful that he fakes his video game high scores, but he also is an insufferable douchebag who legally comes after anyone that makes jokes about him or talks about him in a bad light. And he fails to realize that the person that does the most damage to his reputation is himself for these absolute childish tantrums that he throws. He is a known cheater. There are mountains upon mountains of evidence against him. There is more evidence to confirm Billy Mitchell has cheated than there is evidence to confirm the sun is hot. He is a fucking cheater. But even if you want to disregard all of the evidence that currently exists, Carl Jobst recently made an amazing breakdown of new evidence that just surfaced that 100% confirms that he has cheated his scores. The video is amazing. Carl Jobst, I recently made a video on about Billy Mitchell because he is being sued by Billy not once but twice. One of them because he used a meme that insinuated Billy is a cheater. It's beyond comical at this point, but now all of that seems like it's going to be completely washed. You can just wipe your ass with a lawsuit at this point with the new evidence that surfaced that Carl Jobst highlights here. And I'd like to go over the whole situation here with you and show you some highlights from it. I'm also going to put a link to Carl's video in the description so you can check it out in its entirety. Overall, I'm just super excited about this and extremely happy to see where it goes from here, because this should 100% put the absolute kibosh on all of his lawsuits, since the truth is now known. No matter, like, if you disregard all of the other evidence, this one is completely irrefutable, I think, and that's great. Billy Mitchell, man. He just can't stop collecting these L's. Just to quickly bring everyone up to speed here. Billy Mitchell, video game player of the century, also punching bag for the regular show, where he even tried to sue them for making fun of him in an episode, has come after many people legally for all kinds of defamation cases. And the core of it boils down to people accusing him of being a cheater. And I'm going to go a step further. They're not just accusing him like, allegations of cheating. They have caught him being a cheater. But he has always maintained his innocence. And that's where it all stems from. He still claims he's never cheated, and anyone that makes fun of him or says otherwise gets a nice fat lawsuit from Billy Mitchell. Cooked up in the deepest pits of his basement, I guess. I'm pretty sure he writes them himself, and he takes it as far as it can go. Have you been sued? Billy Mitchell has still not sued me, and I have made fun of him fucking 50 times by now. I don't know why. I actually feel left out. I feel like I'm not part of the cool kids lunch table here because Billy Mitchell won't sue me. He is suing Carl because Carl used a meme of Billy that made fun of him and insinuated he was a cheater. Carl used a meme. I have point blank called this absolutely disheveled, drunk-looking man a cheater a million times. Point blank. And he won't come after me? Asshole. I'm gonna sue him for refusing to sue me.
How is it possible that he performed them at a live event in front of hundreds of people if he faked it and actually played on an emulator? The videotapes must be fake, or are not his actual gameplay, or should just be ignored, because he has real people that say he really did it, and they saw it happen, so it must be legit. As Billy said in his lawsuit, if everyone is lying, it must be a conspiracy akin to that of the Kennedy assassination. But here's the...
Wait, what? Pardon? What was that? Thus, Twin Galaxies' case essentially rests on a conspiracy nearly as broad and untenable as the Kennedy assassination. Like I said, I'm pretty sure he writes these himself. What self-respecting lawyer is going to sit down and put that in text? Who would do that? Like, I'm surprised he doesn't go into, like, the Zapruder film. What they faked here is akin to the Zapruder film. And in fact, the moon landing too, while we're at it.
The videotapes were the only tangible evidence these scores ever happened, so that's all anyone had to go off. Aside from the tapes, it was just people saying that it happened, which really doesn't cut it. There was no footage of Billy actually playing. There was nothing to indicate that he was even there, or...
I'm sorry to keep pausing so frequently, it's just such a wacky case. He still believes that he shouldn't be accused of being a cheater, because even if those tapes are faked or whatever... People saw him do it live and have said, verbally said, he did it. That's fucking useless. I could get people together and say that I grew 5 inches. But then if you see me on camera and I'm 5'6", I can't just be like, no, that doesn't make sense. That's as untenable as the Kennedy assassination. This is all fabricated. It's fraudulent. Look at all these people that said that I grew 5 inches. It's fucking worthless. It's a fucking worthless statement, and I don't know if Billy's too stupid to realize that or if he truly does believe it. Because why would anyone take you at your word? I could say I got the high score on Donkey Kong. I got a 15 billion. And then I could have everyone in chat say, yeah, Charlie got a 15 billion. Should Twin Galaxies put that on their website and make me the world record holder? I don't have any video evidence of it, but I have a ton of people that said I did it. The answer should be a resounding no. It's so silly. It's so silly.
That he played at all. That is, until now. For the first time in 15 years, photos of Billy Mitchell at one of these events where he claims to have achieved one of his world records have surfaced. And I'm not going to beat around the bush. These photos absolutely destroy Billy's case. he is done. There is no more
Really?
doubt Billy will lose his lawsuit. These
This is already so fucking good. So these photos destroy the lawsuit. Why? The referee who looks really sad to be there? Did he let the cat out of the bag? Man, that tie is mean though. Look at Billy Mitchell's tie. Holy shit, Captain America over here.
These photos do more damage than anything that has come before them, and I'm not exaggerating. Even if you disregard all of the videotape evidence, Billy's world records would still be disqualified, and he would still be banned for lying just because of these photos. So how is that even possible? Let's find out. I really hope you enjoy.
Man, this would be worse than if his sex tape leaked,
Now,
I guess.
Legends, I am super excited because the second is a 1.05 million point score Billy achieved in 2007, which is known as the mortgage broker's score. This is because he supposedly achieved it at a mortgage broker's convention. The videotapes for both of these scores show footage that isn't legitimate. This is a fact, and it's why he was banned. But aside from...
Oh, let me read that one more time. It's been a while since I've seen this. It is inarguable that he was cheating, by the way. It's not allegations. It is legitimately inarguable. I can't remember. Did we go over the entire evidence package on stream at some point, or am I having a fake memory right now? Maybe we did it on the podcast. Because I do remember going through at least a good chunk of it. Quite a while back. Number 3 is just a single sentence. During the event, Billy played in a very large convention room and interacted with and performed in front of thousands of people, myself included. And? It's... Oh, this is all one person's statement. Oh, I thought this was 5 or 6 different statements from different people. I was like, what the fuck? There's nothing more there. This is one person's account. Okay. This is part of the whole thing from her statement. I was like, Jesus, come on. I don't know if I feel like going through the whole thing. But I guess a written testimonial claiming that they saw it, that's all you need. Surely there's no such thing as lying, and many of the members I worked with are still active members now. All this information is very available, very public, and quite memorable. Sheila, why are you writing that with so much attitude? You're not the one on trial for cheating or anything. That was a very aggressive sign-off.
This leaves 3 witnesses that say they directly saw him get the world record. The first is from a guy called Richard Mallion. He says he watched Billy's score reach beyond 1 million points and that he saw him achieve his targeted score. Richard is actually a childhood friend of Billy's. In fact, he appeared opposite Billy in the school yearbook. But let's not hold that against him. While it is common for friends to lie for each other, let's not assume that's what happened. He has a nice suit, and he has a nice watch.
Very
no
trustworthy.
one who dresses this well could lie. So I'm going to put that into the yes column. For the no column, there isn't much I found out about Richard that really concerns me, except for this super tiny detail of him pleading guilty to conspiracy, securities fraud, money laundering, and criminal contempt in 19...
Could have happened to anyone, and in fact, I'm going to tell you what happened. He was set up by twin galaxies. They knew there was a connection between the Duck and Billy Mitchell, the King of Kong, and they tried to attack everyone in Billy's circle. Complete misunderstanding. Very fabricated, not real.
1996, after an FBI sting
I wouldn't
operation.
hold it against him.
I mean, it's probably nothing, but it would be remiss of me if I didn't include it. Maybe this is being too judgmental, but I'm going to go ahead and add to the fact that he was charged again with fraud in 2019 by the SEC and had to pay back $750,000.
Once again, Carl, this was a setup. My man, this was twin galaxies trying to take out the witnesses. You know, no different than Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, where Scott had to go through all the ex-boyfriends and shit. This is twin galaxies going through all of the witnesses right now. You can't hold it against Richard here. He did nothing wrong.
In 2021, Richard was unfortunately arrested for conspiracy to commit fraud. Look, he has just not been lucky when it comes to fraud. He keeps getting caught. I, for one...
This picture here... Now I know it was a frame job, and I know it's all false, because they're doing my man Richard so dirty with this mugshot here. Like, it looks like he's fucking skydiving, like all the skin's being pushed towards the back of his skull here. It's like he's fucking melting. Where does the neck start and the chin end? Oh, man. Is he laying down and they took this picture? What is going on here?
Keeps getting caught. I, for one, do not hold this against him. When I look at this table, I see 3-3. It's pretty
That's
even.
tough. That's a toss-up.
Personally, I'm leaning towards trusting the guy, but you let me know in the comments what you think. Okay, so Billy's first witness is a bit sketch. Who's number 2? Billy's second witness that says he saw him
Oh,
get
God,
it
it's
is
Todd Rogers.
Oh boy, this is not going well. Okay, hit me with number 3. Surely we're going to get a winner.
He's probably not going to touch on Todd Rogers. Todd Rogers is another notorious cheater of these old game high scores. He has a whole saga of his own. I don't even think I could do it justice trying to summarize it here. But that is so poetic that one of the other witnesses is fucking Todd Rogers. That's amazing. This is like a team of Avengers that he has for witnesses.
The third witness that says they saw Billy get the score is Kim Mahoney, who is also Todd Rogers' girlfriend. I'm going to be completely honest here.
Coincidence.
I'm getting the impression that Billy's witnesses may not be entirely trustworthy. There's Billy and Todd posing with a couple of people. There's a camera that was recording Billy play, even though that footage doesn't seem to exist for some reason.
They left the
Billy
lens
and Todd
on.
posing
Lens
again
cap.
with the thumbs up. Maybe this is just after Billy got the world record. I have to admit, everything here looks pretty legit, and oh my god, what is that?
I don't know what I'm looking at. I'm not knowledgeable enough. What is it? Is it a copyright 2023 on there?
That joystick is not an original Donkey Kong joystick. This arcade machine does not have original, unmodified Donkey Kong arcade hardware.
Oh,
this
jeepers.
is an original Donkey Kong stick. It's got a big black ball and a short column. The
Oh,
stick on
wow.
Billy's arcade is a tall stick with a smaller ball, and it's obviously red, so the stick has been changed to something else.
Easily explainable. This machine was considered so legit that they had to change out the stick. Otherwise, because people were fighting each other to compete for high scores on it because it was so fucking real. So the stick just got worn out from overusage, but the machine, that's the only thing that's been changed. That much I'm sure of. Or, you know what, that's a good point. This could have been a special edition cabinet that was sent to Billy Mitchell by Nintendo themselves. They were so happy that the King of Kong wanted to use an arcade cabinet that they made that they gave him a special red stick. You know, for the red, white, and blue, because he's such a patriot, obviously. Easily explainable.
On top of that, it appears to be an 8-way stick. Now, the original Donkey Kong stick is 4-way, which means it can only go up, down, left, and right. The game can be played. If you want to steer barrels while on a ladder, you have to stop and hold left or right, because you can't go up and to the side at the same time. But with an 8-way stick, you can continue to climb ladders while steering barrels by using the diagonals. With an 8-way stick,
That's
you can do
interesting.
things you can't do on an original arcade, which is
I'm actually just even shocked that he played the game. I thought this was going to prove that Billy Mitchell's never even touched Donkey Kong in his life. So honestly, at this point, I have a little more respect for Billy knowing that he just used a cheating device in order to have a better score, like to play better. I thought for sure it was going to come out that he just doesn't even know what Donkey Kong is. He's never touched the fucking thing in his life.
is why they are banned. So not only is the stick not original, which was totally banned, it looks like an 8-way stick, which is extra banned. His entire lawsuit against Twin Galaxies is based on the premise that he played on unmodified original arcade hardware, which is categorically not true.
True,
Not only
very
from
wrong.
the videotapes, but now from the photos as well. And his lawsuit is full of lies where Billy claims the hardware was unmodified. Everyone just got caught out, big time. And it gets...
How did they even let this happen? Surely they would have recognized the stick, right? This man dedicated his entire life to Donkey Kong and his high score. He did one thing that isn't even that cool, getting a high score in Donkey Kong, and he let it define his entire fucking life for the last 24 years. And he wouldn't recognize that the stick isn't original? Surely he would have done everything in his power to keep these photos buried. Fucking burn the photos, for God's sakes. He would have had to know that people would be able to easily see that it's not an original stick. he didn't release it. I get he wasn't the one that released it. What I'm saying is I'm sure he would have done everything in his power to stop it from ever coming out. Like, legitimately burn these photos. But maybe that was just beyond his control at this point. Like, who released it? Well, maybe Carl will mention it here in a moment. I'm just shocked he wouldn't go immediately to the event. He knew the photos were being taken. He was literally giving thumbs up with Todd Rogers in front of the cabinet. So he knew there were photos. And he would have known that people would have recognized that as a not legitimate, unmodified stick. So why would even A, let photos be taken, and B, not go to the event and like fucking scrub those archives?
You may be wondering why Billy would lie about something that can so obviously be disproven.
That's what I was just talking
about.
about.
The answer is that Billy didn't know these photos existed. In
What?
fact, the entire Donkey Kong community didn't know these photos existed. They were only made public recently, and not by Billy Mitchell. These photos were never made public, and they were only retrieved now by directly contacting the organizers of the convention.
That blows my mind. He literally gave a thumbs up multiple times with Todd Rogers in front of that machine. Who was he giving the thumbs up for? He knew pictures were being taken. What did he think happened to that? What? Wait, what? This is a cool angle of Billy, though, I will say. His hair looks even more like a Lego block in this angle. But I still just can't believe that he wouldn't remember photos being taken because he posed multiple times for him. I'm also surprised that it took this long for someone to contact the event staff from the mortgage thing. I feel like a lot of people would have thought to do that a long time ago, but maybe just now they finally found the photos.
I cannot wait until this goes to trial, and
Wow.
you best believe that when it does, I'm going to cover it. I'm excited, and I think you should be too. Because this is going to be a lot of fun. As always, thank you so much for watching, you legends. I hope you are having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video.
This is also great news for Carl. This is a big Carl W as well, because he is currently getting sued by this goofball, this goober. And as everyone knows, the #1 defense against defamation, which is what Billy Mitchell is coming after him for, is the absolute truth. And now, it seems, it has been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt, he cheated. Thus, the case against Carl is fucking kaput. It really just goes to show you, sometimes the simplest means and like the simplest explanations are the most effective. Hey, so you got this at a mortgage convention, what year? And where was it? Why don't I just give them a call? Maybe they have photos. Hey, you guys have any photos? Oh, we do. Yeah, you want them? Yes, please. Bang. And now it's all over for Billy Mitchell's case. Aren't frivolous lawsuits illegal? Yeah, but it feels like a lot of people get away with doing that. He's made like an entire fucking career off of frivolous lawsuits. Has he actually won any lawsuits? My man, I don't think he's even had one of his lawsuits make it to a trial. They get thrown out so quick. But it's still expensive for the people he sues. It's still a headache. It's such an absurd thing to ruin your life over. Alright, let's not get carried away. Billy Mitchell didn't ruin his life over this. He's not gonna go to jail. He just has a legacy of being a fucking joke of a person and an insufferable asshole for all the frivolous lawsuits he tosses at people that make fun of him or point out that he's cheated. He hasn't ruined his life. The man has a fucking hot sauce deal, for God's sakes. None of which I think he earned, by the way. He has one accolade, and it's high scores at Donkey Kong. That he fucking cheated. So in fact, he got dealt a really lucky hand. He got one thing that he's never let go, and he's somehow found success from it. Might want to tone it back before he sues you. He can't anymore. He literally can't. Because the truth is now abundantly clear. Even if you set aside all of the inarguable evidence of him cheating, now these pictures that have come out confirm it even more beyond a shadow of a doubt. He legitimately can no longer sue anymore. Why do these confirm he's cheating? Oh, if you weren't here, I'll give you the quick explanation. So the whole claim is that he got the high scores on an unmodified original hardware. However, now that these pictures are out, you can see it's not. So the original hardware did not have this stick. It had a small black stick. So it had a black ball on top and the stick. Not this. So immediately that disqualifies all of his records because it is not Unmodified hardware. He's lied about it. It is clearly modified. Oh yeah, and it's an 8-way stick apparently, which is another banned device because it gives you an advantage. You're able to cheat the game a bit more by being able to go in the other 4 angles here diagonally. So this stick right here just throws out everything he's ever claimed. That's just the stick cover. Well, it wouldn't matter. You know what? Let's play ball with you. Let's assume that is a stick cover and the original stick is still under there. That is A, still not allowed, and B, impossible, because here's what the original stick looks like. It's a tiny little goofy, like almost doorknob. Not that long, stretched one. So it can't even just be a cover. It is a completely different stick. Chode versus grower. Yeah, I guess kinda. The OG is more chody. Not only that, I bet there was an emulator built into the arcade box. We're setting aside all of the massive amounts of evidence talking about it being on emulator, not original hardware. We're setting all that aside and just going by what we can physically see from the photos of the event, where it is clearly modified. You don't even need to touch all of the deep analysis, which also confirm that it's illegitimate. You can just look at the photos from the event and still get the correct answer that it's fake. I'm curious to see how he decides to fight this. You know he will not admit it. So, I'll make a prediction, and right now I'm on fire with my predictions. I think the way Billy Mitchell tackles this is the exact way that any fucking geriatric person would. It's all fake Photoshop, AI, fabricated. He's going to claim that these photos are fabricated, they're AI generated or AI enhanced, something like that. The photos are fake. They've done something with the knob. It's, this was an original knob, but they've edited it all out. He's going to harp on it being photoshopped and doctored. 100%. My voice is still messed up, so it's going to sound like I'm going through puberty a few times throughout this video, and that's just the way it's gonna be. I'm going to state something obvious now. Everyone finds different things fun. That's a core component to remember about life. I feel like in the age of Twitter, that's just been lost. Where if someone finds something shitty that you enjoy, they take it as like a personal attack on their honor, and they'll fight tooth and nail to prove that they're wrong for not liking what they like. But the reason I mention that is even though everyone finds different things fun, or different things enjoyable, there is one unifying pleasure that everyone can agree on, and that's watching Billy Mitchell catch L's. Now I know this isn't the most flattering image, but it's so fitting for today's story. Someone said it best, Billy Mitchell looks cel-shaded and his hair looks like he's perpetually wearing a hoodie. Now, you know him potentially as the King of Kong or the self-proclaimed video game player of the century, but what he actually is the biggest fucking clown of this century. He is Bozo incarnate. He used to be known for video game high scores, but upon further inspection, it's been confirmed pretty much without a shadow of a doubt that he is just a cheater. They're not legitimate achievements that he's obtained. It's all fraudulent. So Billy Mitchell was outed as a cheater, and instead of just fading away into the shadow realm gracefully, he instead started lashing out, and now he's become known for frivolous bullshit lawsuits against anyone who makes fun of him or even really talks somewhat negatively about him. That is his claim to fame now. Just nonsense lawsuits and making a fool of himself publicly. He can't help himself. He's addicted to humiliation. It's pathetic. And I have covered every single one of his losses pretty much because a friend of mine who's an incredible YouTuber named Carl Jobst has been not only involved in lawsuits with Billy Mitchell, but covering every fucking blunder he's ever made and how he continues to beclown himself in front of everybody. I love Carl's content, and I especially love his Billy Mitchell content. Can't recommend it enough. And today, I want to talk about his most recent one. Like I said, everyone has different tastes, but I'm going to tell you, everyone can agree that the ultimate pleasure doesn't come from the first time you try ice cream or when you lose your virginity. The ultimate pleasure is laughing at Billy Mitchell losing. And he just lost again. In fact, I don't think he's ever won a single legal case or anything like that. He tries to bully people with it, and it always blows up in his face. He always ends up with more shit on his face than 2 girls, 1 cup. So I'm just going to break down the situation. I'll link Carl's video if you want the in-depth review of it, but I just want to give you the cliff notes here so we can just start pointing and laughing at this guy. He, of course, has like a million active lawsuits, but the one we're focusing on today was one that he had levied against a man named David Race. David Race used to actually be part of Billy Mitchell's team. He was very staunchly supporting Billy Mitchell when all of the cheating allegations came to light. He actually worked very hard to prove that Billy Mitchell was legitimate. He wasn't a cheater, and everyone accusing him of cheating was wrong. However, once he really... That was tragic, listening to that series of voice cracks there, but not much I can do about it right now. But once David really dug into the meat of it, like got into the weeds and investigated Billy Mitchell and all of the allegations, he came to the conclusion that everyone else had, that he was a cheater. So, David Race no longer supports Billy Mitchell or defends him from these allegations. In fact, he openly mocks Billy Mitchell and calls him a cheater now. Now, the lawsuit kind of boiled down to Billy Mitchell was trying to silence David Race because David had an Excalibur tier weapon to use against Billy and his credibility in the legal sense. What happened is, since David and Billy used to be so close, Billy had actually confided a nefarious, evil anime character supervillain plot where he was going to fake a bunch of shit in order to make people look stupid. I can't even begin to explain how stupid his logic was with this whole plan, but Billy Mitchell had called David in order to declassify his top secret scheme here, which basically boiled down to just being extremely fucking petty and doing some shady shit in order to make people feel silly, make them look silly and goofy. It's a horrible, horrible plan, but why it's important is because it showed that Billy was more than willing to lie, which is very bad for his credibility, obviously. So this being used as evidence would be pretty damning. The transcript is here. The audio is in Carl's video if you want to hear it in its entirety. I'm just going to show you the transcript. You can see that David's literally just one-wording him. He's just saying, yeah. He's just like actually holding spacebar through this conversation to skip through the dialogue with Billy as he's divulging this galaxy brain plan. It's so fucking embarrassing from Billy. Now, after this conversation was recorded and Billy became aware of it, he issued a lawsuit against David because it's pretty bad for Billy here. And he was suing him because he had been recorded without his consent. And Billy is in Florida, where it's a two-party consent state, so you would have to have Billy's permission to record this phone call. However, David lives in Ohio, which is a one-party consent state. So David did not need permission to record that phone call. So Billy Mitchell's lawsuit had no legs at all. But it did take 2 years before it got thrown out. But it did get thrown out because Billy Mitchell, he knows nothing except how to lose. So this did get thrown out. It took 2 years, and there was a lot of, like, less than stellar legal work done for David here because this should have been thrown out very quickly. Since David was the one that recorded it in a one-party consent state, he wasn't obligated to play by Florida's rules. That doesn't even make sense. It's not logical whatsoever, which Carl points out as well. So David slam dunked this case. He did win, but it cost him a lot of money. And unfortunately, Billy Mitchell's not done. He is now escalating this case to the fucking Supreme Court of Florida, where I am confident he will lose once again, as he always has. He has actually been born in this world to be a loser, to be laughed at. That is Billy Mitchell's legacy, but I wanted to cover this most recent lawsuit because it's just another fat fucking L for Billy Mitchell in such a silly way. So yeah, that's really about it. I look forward to seeing Billy Mitchell lose more lawsuits that he himself keeps filing. Yeah, that's about it. See ya.